Hi everybody, I'm Kyle Franklin with Franklin's Flying Circus, and I'm going to do a little bit of a walk around with my Piper Super Cub that I do my comedy drunk routine Ben Wobnoski with. And we just finished up here at Oshkosh for the day. Just finished my performance. It's going to be a little loud. The air show's still going on, so anyways, I'll try to talk loud and get this. But anyways, the airplane I fly is a 1956 Piper Super Cub P-18A. It's the agriculture version, built a little stronger. It's got the flat back, which I always liked. And unique thing about this airplane is this is the airplane I learned to fly in when I was 8 years old. It's the airplane I soloed in, and I actually started my airshow flying career in when I was about 20 years old. You know, I started wing walking when I was 17, but when it came to flying air shows, I was 20 years old and I started flying this one. It's, for the most part, you know, I started doing this, it was pretty much a stock Super Cub. Over the years, we've changed a few things, but everything on it's STC'd. We didn't do any major modifications. You know, for the most part, the biggest thing was the engine. It's still an original 0320, but over the, put this down here, when we overhauled the engine, we went from 150 horse to 181 horse, but like I said, it's still the 0320. We put, with the help of Aircraft Specialty Services, we put they can supply a lot of parts, put the leading edge exhaust system, higher compression pistons on it, ceramic coated intake tubes, K&N filter. Anyways, everything on it got it up to 181 horse, which makes a world of difference. Makes my job easier to fly having the extra horsepower. And of course, when we recovered the airplane, I took a lot of things out and we lightened it up about 100 pounds. So, you know, when it comes to the airshow environment, no matter what act you're doing, more power and lighter is better. So, but again, I did it many years as bone stock. But anyways, that's the engine on that part. Again, everything else on it is pretty standard. It's still got the original bungees on there. We use Goodyear tires, which we just put these on this year. They last pretty long. I can generally get about 2 seasons out of them, especially if I rotate them. But of course, Cleveland wheels and brakes help get the thing stopped. We're getting that. But yeah, otherwise, like I said, it's aluminum wings, fabric, struts. Universe helped us immensely in rebuilding this thing. You know, we got the heavier duty struts on the right side because we used to do the motorcycle to airplane transfer, and we had a rope ladder that would attach to the struts, and I wanted the stronger struts on that side, but just put them on that side, didn't put them on the left side yet because I just want to keep it light. But you know, it's the act itself. You know, people ask what do you do in a comedy act, and I always say it's basically everything they ever teach you not to do when you're learning to fly is what I go out and do. Everything from stalling the airplane at 100 feet off the ground to dragging the wingtips on the ground, and we'll head out here to the wingtip and you'll see kind of what I'm talking about here. We just finished this up. I've actually got galvanized steel skid plates on the bottom of the wing here and about 3 rolls of duct tape over the whole thing. And you see, like right here, you can kind of see the plate. It gets really sharp there when I'm dragging them here, but you see all the layers of duct tape and the metal plates. The bags here are actually flour. When I first started doing this act, I'd go out there and I'd drag the wingtips, and I'd come back and people are like, man, you almost drug that wingtip. It's like, I did. So how do I make it obvious that the wingtip hit the ground? So we came up with the idea with, I put about a cup of flour in Ziploc bags and put them in key spots. This one here, whenever I'm flying, come down, get one wheel on the ground, and I can lean over and get that one. And then these aft ones are when I'm actually landing. Because you can see there's 2 different actually drag points here. Here's one where I'm either when I'm flying or I'm up on one wheel, and the back ones are when I'm landing. Because I do a 3-point landing, except it's 1 wheel, tail wheel, and wing. And you know, in all the years I've been doing this act about 22 years now. Knock on wood, never broke or bent anything on it. It's still, you know, aluminum wings, fabric. The wings do flex, and you know, I don't recommend anybody go out and try dragging wings on the ground, because there are tricks to the trade of knowing the angles and how hard you can hit it, and most people don't want to be this hard on their airplane. You know, I love this airplane. It's probably my favorite airplane that we've got, and it's you know, I beat it up, but it knows I love it. So, but otherwise, like I said, everything else on this is pretty much a stock Piper Super Cub. We rebuild it somewhat every year. Every year we tear it down. Don't take the fabric off of it, but every year we tear it down, inspect everything, make sure everything's good to go for the next season. You know, compression checks, you know, what they consider an annual. This is an experimental exhibition category, but I just did that so I can do whatever I want to the airplane, because I have no intentions of ever selling this airplane. It's my airplane, consider with it. But also, you know, this airplane, not only did I learn to fly in this and solo it, but this is actually how my wife and I met. I met her actually here at Oshkosh, and then she came down to do some flight instruction with me to learn some tail wheel, and we're doing the instruction in this airplane and hit it off, and now we've been married 3 years and been together 5, and she's an essential part of the act. She's the one that starts up the airplane and taxis it out, and ends up having to get out of the airplane because she's got a problem, and I run out and steal the airplane. But you know, like I say, it's very basic. The goal is to keep it as light as possible. You can kind of see in here, very simple, basic gauges, nothing fancy, no glass panel, nothing too much in there. And during my routine, I don't use half of this stuff. I'm not paying attention to half of this stuff anyways. But you know, we pull out the back seat. We've got Organ Arrow seats in here that they made for us. A beautiful, comfortable leather seats. I highly recommend the Organ Arrow seats, or at least their seat cushions. I use their seat cushions on everything, but the back seat is actually the most comfortable because it's got like 5 inches of memory foam, but it is slightly heavy, so we pull it out during the routine. But you also want things you don't want anything getting caught on anything because you're working low to the ground. But you know, again, the engine's pretty much that. Still carbureted. We did everything we could to hop up the horsepower except going fuel injection. I like the carburetor. We swapped out, got the Pacific Oil cooler in there to keep it nice and cool. Sensenich propeller. I still like the metal props over a lot of the composites. Mainly just, you know, it's what I'm used to flying, and it balances the airplane out really well. You know, we've got the Concorde battery in the back and the Sensenich in front, and it just balances the airplane perfectly for what I want to do. I guess that's it. You know, that's a lot of the airplane there. You know, can't forget one thing. One thing that we run on everything is Cam Guard. And if you never heard of Cam Guard, it's a anti-wear, anti-corrosion oil additive. We've been running it in it since they got it approved by the FAA, and they were okay with it. That we run Cam Guard, and now I run Cam Guard in everything from my lawnmowers to my cars, and it's an amazing product. And as hard as I am on this engine, because through the whole routine I'm max power, back to idle, and I'm constantly revving up the engine, and the Cam Guard stuff just really makes my engine last, keeps the oil temperatures down. So really happy with that. And you know, I can't thank all my sponsors, Apogee Investments, for all that they've helped us with many things over the years. You know, they're a big reason we had Dracula and it got completed. But you know, we're happy out here. This is the primary act we've been doing for the last couple of years. A lot of people wanting to see Dracula again, and Dracula will probably be back at some point, hopefully. But we're actually working on another act here, and hopefully we're trying to find the right airplane, and maybe in another year or so we'll have that act up and going. But yeah, that's about all I can think of right now on the airplane. But I'm sure you guys probably gonna see the video of the act. But the comedy act it's been around for a long time at air shows. It changes. You know, a lot of people do the Flying Farmer skit, which is the most common. There's a few of us, me and Eric Edrin, we still do the actual drunk pilot routine. He does it in his T-clip, and I'm using the Super Cub. You got Kent Peach in his Jelly Belly, where his aileron falls off. You know, much respect for that man on that, because I've flown that interstate with the one aileron off, and it's not much fun. It's not much fun to fly with one aileron. But you know, we got a lot of us here this week. I think there's 6 comedy guys here this week, so we're hoping to get a picture of all of us here tonight. It'll be kind of neat. But you know, the comedy acts, we do 2 different versions. Whenever we can do 2 different versions with this. The one we did here today was what we call the run and steal, where Liz will start up the airplane, she'll taxi out, and the announcer tells you, she's going to go up and do a stall demonstration, short takeoff and landing. And then she has a tail wheel problem. She gets out of the airplane, and once she's out of the airplane, I come up and start haggling the announcer about him owing me an airplane ride, and make a big scene there. And then security comes out and starts chasing me, and I run and jump in the running airplane, and away we go. And typically try to drag the wingtip right on takeoff. And basically from that point on, everything they teach you not to do is what I do. And of course, everybody's two of the favorite things everybody loves is the landing, which is actually, like I was saying, is a 3-point landing except with the wing, and dragging the wing. And Oshkosh is perfect for making the turn in here. And then everybody's favorite, doesn't matter what I do, is when I fall out of the airplane comes in, ground loops, I fall out of the airplane and the airplane runs over the top of me, is everybody's favorite part. And you know, some people know the story. I actually developed that by accident at one of my first shows. I would typically just run up to the crowd and kick the airplane sideways and fall out and stumble away because I'm playing the drum. And one day I came in and I kicked it sideways, and as I'm coming out I realized, man, I got way too much speed on this, and that it's ground loop and the tail's coming around. Like, I'm not going to clear this tail before it hits me, so I just ducked and went underneath the airplane. And all my friends were like, dude, that was awesome, do that again tomorrow, and been doing it ever since. The second setup we do is the standard, you know, guy wins the ride. You know, Ben wins the ride. You know, my character's name is Ben Wabnowski. That's been a family name for this act for many, many years. My father did an act similar to this back in 70s and 80s. And Ben Wabnowski was the name we ran under. I think it was one of his high school buddies that came up with that, as I recall. But Ben wins the ride. It's we do that one if wind conditions are too bad and we don't want Liz getting out of the airplane and it's sitting there running with nobody in it, if wind is too bad, or if the announcer stand is too far away from where the airplane is. So depending on the situation, we'll do the win a ride thing, and it's more of a traditional clown act, where, you know, I win the ride, I come out, and she's escorting me out to the airplane, and we got comical things like hitting my head on the wing and straddling the back of the fuselage and all the goofy clown stuff there. And then I end up getting in the airplane, and I'm going to get my ride, and then she ends up getting out of the airplane because it has a problem. And as soon as she gets out of the airplane, away we go. And the act's pretty much the same after that. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun airplane, and I highly recommend, you know, any pilot or anybody who's learning to fly to definitely learn in a tailwheel airplane. Like I said, this is the airplane I learned to fly in, and if you want to become a pilot, start if you can. They're hard to find anymore. Unfortunately, there's not as many tailwheel instructors anymore, but if you can learn in a Cub or any tailwheel, you'll be a million times better pilot, because flying tailwheel requires a lot more stick and rudder skills, a lot more footwork. Unfortunately, you know, a tricycle gear, you don't have to use the rudder all that much, and it's just a lot more involved. I always relate it to, like, when you're learning to drive a car. If you start off and learn in a manual stick shift and learn how to use the clutch and everything, and then you go to an automatic, it's easy. But if you learn an automatic, trying to go to a stick shift is extremely difficult because you're so used to the automatic. And it's the same way with flying between tailwheel and tricycle. So I highly recommend, if you're wanting to learn to fly, if you can, learn in a tailwheel. You'll be a much better pilot, and you'll be a lot safer for it. Real privilege to come to Oshkosh, though, and we enjoy coming back every year. And you know, all of 100,000 people here, we really enjoy it. But more information, you know, we're working on our website right now. I'm hoping to have it back up soon, but FranklinAirshow.com. We're also on Facebook at Franklin's Flying Circus. Those are our two primary social media things, so you can check us out there.